Hello, this is Tom Allinder of Proactive Newsroom. This is our first interview at Proactive Newsroom, but certainly won't be the last. But for this first show, our guest is Jeff Davis. Jeff Davis is the CEO of Access Pharmaceuticals, which is traded on the over-the-counter bulletin board under ticker symbol ACCP. Jeff, how are you doing today?
I'm very well, thanks, Tom.
Now, yesterday, Access Pharmaceuticals had a very exciting press release regarding your MuGard. Could you expand and maybe expound on that press release for us?
Sure, I can. For those who don't know what MuGard is, it's an FDA-approved treatment for oral mucositis, and oral mucositis is a very debilitating side effect of a very high percentage of patients that are undergoing either radiation treatment or chemotherapy for any number of different cancers. And our MuGard product has been commercially launched. We have a European licensee who has launched it in the UK, Germany, Italy, and elsewhere. And as part of a post-approval sort of marketing strategy, they're doing some, marketing studies or assessments at key cancer institutions in the UK. And what was announced yesterday is that the data coming back from that is very impressive and even exceeds our expectations here at Access Pharmaceuticals. I think the key thing in treating oral mucositis is one, education of both the patients and the doctors, but also getting patients to use MuGard in a prophylactic or preventative way. Oral mucositis is a deterioration or breakdown of the oral mucosa in your mouth, and then you have a cumulative effect over time while you're undergoing radiation or chemo. So it's important to use MuGard, which is a protective sort of coating in your mouth and down your esophagus very early on. And what we've seen is, a very high percentage of patients that use MuGard do not experience any oral mucositis. And those that do experience it, it's much less severe and shorter in duration than they normally would see. So it's a very exciting development in the treatment of oral mucositis, and I think it's a real breakthrough for patients.
Now, in my reading, I read actually in several places that oral mucositis can be so bad for some patients that they will actually discontinue chemotherapy. In other words, they would rather risk their chances with cancer rather than go through the chemo.
You're absolutely right. I mean, about 80% of patients that are undergoing radiation treatment anywhere in the body have an incidence of oral mucositis, about 80%, and about 40% of patients undergoing chemo. And sometimes it's graded 1, 2, 3, 4, with 1 or 2 being, discomfort. It's there, it's uncomfortable, but it doesn't sort of impact your life. But grade 3 and 4, which are characterized as more, of the most severe, you have such a breakdown of your oral mucosa that it is too painful to drink liquids, it's too painful to eat, and you're in fact right. Patients discontinue their radiation treatment and their chemotherapy because it's just too painful, in their mouth. And so it is a big problem. It's a big problem for clinicians, obviously, who want to make sure the patients are getting the right chemotherapy regimens and are compliant on their treatments. And it's obviously a very serious problem for patients. I mean, some patients have to actually be hospitalized and, fed intravenously because they cannot swallow or drink fluids or eat food. So it's a very serious problem.
All right, and the other thing that I was a bit flabbergasted about yesterday is the size of the market in dollars for this particular product. I mean, as far as the marketing potential of it is concerned.
Well, the key thing is, in looking at the market, is understanding the difference between treating oral mucositis once it already starts, and there's really not a lot of good options out there for clinicians, versus actually trying to treat it prophylactically or prevent it. And so when you're looking at preventing this, you don't really know which 80% of your radiation patients or which 40% of your chemo patients are actually going to develop oral mucositis. But for an oncology supportive care, reasonably priced preventative solution like MuGard, okay, you can make the case that all patients should start it prophylactically. So that means your market size is multiple times larger and, really runs into the billions of dollars of opportunities because of the very high incidence and prevalence of cancer patients that are undergoing radiation and chemo. So it's a big market. It absolutely is a very large market.
Okay, Jeff, last question here. You've got this great press release out here, and we're getting ready to put up some slide presentations here at Proactive Newsroom. Now, where do we go from here? What's the next step on MuGard? What's the next thing that we're most likely to hear that you can tell us about?
Well, we're commercially launched in Europe. You'll continue to hear additional rollouts in Europe. We have marketing partners in China. We have a marketing partner in Korea. We're currently in discussions with additional marketing partners in other geographic regions. We will also clarify better what our strategy is in North America, which includes, potential licensing deals and/or co-promotion deals with large pharmaceuticals or biotech companies here in the United States. So it'll be business development activities as well as ongoing sort of clinical data, like you saw in the press release yesterday, which I think is not only very positive for patients, but also helps educate clinicians as to the benefits of using MuGard in their treatment regimens.
All right, Jeff, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of you. I know is a very busy schedule to talk with me today. Thank you again so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.